Hi, my name is Katie Partridge, and my partner Lucas Troutman and I did our project on the USC basketball team and its coaching methods. A little background and overview. Frank Martin is the head coach at USC. He's been a college basketball coach since 2000. Some of his positions, he was Kansas State head coach from 2007 to 2012, and he had a winning season all of his years that he was the head coach there. Last year was his first season at USC as head coach, and he had a losing record of 14-18, and he was 4-14 in conference. Currently, he was brought in as the new head coach, obviously to build a better team and produce a winning season for the school. Clearly that didn't pan out for him. Currently, he brings little to no extrinsic or intrinsic motivation to the players. The players only have motivation as their yearly scholarship, which cannot be taken away during the year, only by the player's choice, and it's renegotiated every year. He doesn't know how to motivate the intrinsic side of players as well. He believes in motivating by fear with punishment rather than encouragement with rewards. Some of the punishments he uses involve running, getting kicked out of practice, individually singling out the players. He belittles the players in front of their teammates. He'll take away most, if not all, playing time for players. And most importantly, he talks negatively to the media about the team. These are some of the quotes that he's been found to use. He talked about how he's been a basketball coach for 28 years, and he used to be a JV basketball coach for 14-year-olds. And he was quoted saying, "I've never been more embarrassed to call myself a basketball coach than I am today." He talked about how he's only been at the school for 10 months, and he says, "If I've lost them, then they better disappear," when talking about his players. When he talks about how he compares his players in the school to the NBA, he says how if they were in the NBA, he would just excuse them, pay them out, and say good luck ever finding another job, saying that that's how poorly that they play and they have absolutely no talent. He describes the team as passionless and lifeless, and he was quoted saying that the locker room was a morgue before one of the games. In the beginning of the press conference, he commented on how they lead the country in airball layups. Next, Lucas is going to talk about why this doesn't work for the team and how he can be better.
All right, so a little bit of what I'm going to talk about is why this didn't work. One main reason that I believe in, because I've talked to some of the other players that actually were there at the time of this coach, was because it was demoralizing. He was very demeaning to the players, just with the way he called them out, with the way he said things. He wanted to operate on fear and just tried to scare them into doing what he wanted. And two of my good buddies who actually played there said they hated it. They couldn't stand it at all, and they actually transferred out. And that was due to everything and the way he is and the things he said and things like that. And you can't really be that direct with people. This also comes from Pink, where the punishment didn't promote good behavior; it crowded it out. The punishment for a lot of these things were so severe that it had nothing to reward. There was nothing for the players to look forward to, nothing for them, to want out of everything, only to see punishment and to see, if they mess up, they're going to get punished. But regardless, they're going to get, their scholarship anyway. So there's no reward and punishment, equilibrium, basically. And by diminishing the intrinsic motivation, they can send performance, creativity, and even upstanding behavior topping like dominoes. When there's no intrinsic motivation in anybody, they're not going to want to do the work. They're not going to want to keep playing, and it kills teams as well as kills the coach, and it diminishes performance, creativity, and the reason it said it falls like dominoes, I believe, is just because once you get rid of that intrinsic motivation, nobody wants to play. It leads into everything. I mean, if you don't want to play, you don't want to continue to get better. If you don't want to continue to get better, you're not going to be in the gym doing the same amount of things that you need. A lot of things, compared to now with the way our coach is, he's always constantly trying to motivate, whether it be, if you do so well or do so many wins, we'll have dinner at my house or something like that. Just little things like that can motivate a team into doing better. And if you constantly give them extrinsic motivation, it kind of gives them that reason to build themselves up intrinsically. How I think they should improve this is basically, starting out with a needs theory. That coach came from, Kansas State, where, his management style may have worked. Needs theory is based on the aspect that everybody has a different way of learning and everybody has a different way of being managed. This team obviously doesn't flow with the way that he manages, and it's caused a big clash of basically egos. It hasn't really wanted, or hasn't been able to motivate each player in the way that he's wanted and be able to generate the success that he's had in past years. And that's what we believe is kind of based off the needs theory. Another reason, or another way we think they can improve, is by building up the extrinsic motivation. By doing that, this will increase confidence and help boost the intrinsic motivation in players. It kind of goes with that positive feedback. If somebody doesn't know they're doing something good, or doesn't feel that what they're doing is right, or they fit into what you need, then there's no intrinsic motivation to get better. There's nothing for them to tell themselves, okay, I did a good job, or anything like that. So when there's only negative reinforcement in that, in the motivation, in the extrinsic motivation, there was no room for any intrinsic motivation in these players. He also wants to make the players feel like they belong and feel like what they're doing is contributing to the team. So show them how what they do together, how they fit into that team, is bettering the team. You can do this by going through film, stuff like that, like we do within practice. Though he may point out certain things that are bad or something that doesn't fit into what we're trying to do, the way our coach does, he'll at least show something that we did right, and he'll motivate that side of us. He says, hey, you did this great. That's awesome. I'm happy. I'm glad this is what you need to do, and keep doing that. And then he'll also go to a negative slide. So it's a balance in between that positive and negative reinforcement. This is where we believe that team cohesiveness will foster better teamwork and produce better results. This also goes with that feeling like the player belong, because the team has to feel like they all fit together. When you break down players, you point out specific players that are your favorite, and they don't really like that. They don't really flow together. They don't really feel like they're a part of the team. They feel like they should disconnect from each other and have to go against each other for each spot. This kind of flows into the managers can help employees see how their work is contributing. Kind of flows right back into the same thing, where the coach should actually point out the players and show them what they're doing to help the team. Like our coach, for example, will take us to the side, will show a video with us of things that we're doing great and things that we need to keep doing and continue doing, while he'll also show negative things that need to improve and things to get better without actually beating us down or demoralizing us in general. And this also actually kind of goes back to the nurture versus toxins. Talking about nurtures are acts of interpersonal support, such as respect and recognition, encouragement and emotional comfort, and opportunities for affiliation. As where toxins are, their opposites include disrespect, discouragement, disregard for emotions, and interpersonal conflict. We feel that he only uses toxins, and that's the only way that he knows how to coach, and that's whether that's worked for him in the past, which obviously it has. It doesn't fit in with the program he has now. And that's kind of what's caused a lot of the problems, is because that's only his way of motivation. That's his style of coaching, and there's no one right way to manage. You kind of have to adjust things, and it all basically ties back to how is he going to be able to change things in order to better his management style for the future.